Also making headlines new overnight, the suspect accused in the death of the vice mayor of Coral Springs has officially been booked into jail. This is his mugshot. Stephen Bowen is the husband of the victim, Nancy Metayer Bowen. She was found dead in her home on Wednesday.
Police are looking into this as a domestic violence-related incident. Local 10's Jeff Derderian is live in Fort Lauderdale with what we are learning about this case and the arrests made. Jeff.
Hey there, guys. Yeah, the husband of the vice mayor has been booked, fingerprinted, and charged. He's expected to be in bond court at some point today. As you mentioned, we're also now, new this morning, getting a look at him.
She kissed her husband goodbye that morning, like it was any normal Tuesday. By the next night, he had shot her 3 times. But that's not even the part that will stay with you. Because after he killed her, he wrapped her body in blankets, sealed her inside garbage bags, and went downstairs. And went to sleep. In the same house, with her body upstairs. And the next morning, when her coworkers asked why she missed an important government meeting, he calmly texted back, "She's not picking up." She was already dead. This wasn't just anyone. She was 38 years old, a vice mayor, a rising political force, days away from announcing a run for Congress. 3 months earlier, she had just buried her younger brother. And the man who stood beside her through all of that is the one who ended her life. This is the story of Nancy Metayer Bowen.
Vice mayor of the city, her body inside her house.
This is being investigated as a domestic violence incident. Her husband,
and by the end of this
Stephen
video,
Bowen,
you're going to understand how a perfect marriage can hide something far more dangerous than anyone wants to admit. If you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, please like and subscribe, because every victim deserves a voice.
This is where they nabbed the vice mayor's husband, Stephen Bowen.
From Coral Springs to here, in this particular area, is insane.
Onlookers learning about it all when the cops show up, the entire parking lot blocked off for a time, detectives combing the area. There were some cars towed away from the scene. They could be tied to the investigation,
when Stephen Bowen's
possibly.
uncle
Some
sat down with investigators that evening and gave a full interview, he shared something that cut right to the core of this case. He said that when he asked his nephew, why did you do this? Stephen Bowen told him he couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't take it anymore. Nancy was 38 years old, 3 months removed from burying her baby brother, and days away from announcing a run for Congress. And the man she was married to couldn't take it anymore. Take what, exactly? Her success? Her momentum? The fact that she was ascending to levels he couldn't follow? We may never get a full answer to that question, because Stephen Bowen has since invoked his right to an attorney and refused to speak further with law enforcement. What we do know is what the charges say: premeditated first-degree murder and tampering with or fabricating physical evidence. He's being held without bond at Broward County's main jail. A judge denied bond at his first appearance. There is no bail for this man. Now I need to tell you about Donovan, because you cannot tell Nancy's story without telling his. Donovan Joshua Lee Metayer was the baby of the Metayer family, the youngest child. Nancy described him in one of her final public posts about him as the sibling who gets under my skin the most and the one I feel I have to protect the hardest. She called him her Virgo twin, her mini-me. By all accounts, Donovan was brilliant, a straight A student, curious, funny, the kind of kid who lit up a room without trying. His family had dreams for him: college, a future in computer science, all of it laid out ahead of him. And then February 14th, 2018 happened. Donovan was a senior at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, on the day that Nicholas Cruz walked in with an AR-15 style rifle and opened fire. 17 students and staff members were killed. 18 others were wounded, and Donovan Metayer did not just hear about it from a distance. He was there. He was close. He watched classmates, his friends, get cut down in front of him. He ran for his life. He made it out physically, but part of him never made it out at all. In the months that followed, his family watched him change. The brilliant, curious boy began to withdraw. He stopped wanting to leave the house. The panic didn't go away, it grew. Depression took hold, emotional instability, long stretches of isolation, and eventually a diagnosis that would define the rest of his short life: paranoid schizophrenia.
His family said he fought hard to deny it at first, and I understand that. Especially in Caribbean communities, there is a stigma around mental illness that is difficult to overstate. People don't always see it as a chemical imbalance in the brain. They see it as weakness, or worse. And for a young man who had been a high achiever his whole life, being told he had a condition that required lifelong medication and management, that was its own kind of grief. He went in and out of hospitals. In 2021, a mental health crisis led to him being placed under Florida's Baker Act, an involuntary hold for emergency psychiatric evaluation and treatment. That Baker Act also came with a risk protection order that temporarily prevented him from purchasing a firearm. But things started to look up. He connected with the Henderson Behavioral Health Clinic and a private psychiatrist. His family said those two became a lifeline for him. With real support, Donovan began to heal. He earned an IT certification. He got a job at Office Depot in Coral Springs and was quickly promoted. After years of dark valleys, he was beginning to carve out something that looked like a future. And then, the risk protection order expired. His family has said they believe that even during his period of progress, Donovan was still fighting demons that no one on the outside could see. He hid his pain. He didn't want to be a burden. He didn't want to disappoint the people who were finally proud of him again. He purchased a firearm at a local gun shop. A week later, on December 15th, 2025, Donovan Joshua Lee Metayer died by suicide at his family's home. He was 26 years old. Nancy announced his passing publicly on December 20th. She wrote that she could see every message, every voicemail, every text people were sending, but she wasn't in a space to talk yet. She channeled her grief into action, the way she always did. She set up a GoFundMe to endow a mental health fund at the Henderson Behavioral Health Clinic in her brother's name. She asked people to donate instead of sending flowers. 4 days before she made that public announcement, while she was still raw and shattered, she posted a photo of herself with Donovan and wrote directly to him, "You are the sibling who gets under my skin the most, and the one I feel I have to protect the hardest. You are my Virgo twin, my mini-me. You are so deeply loved, baby brother. Love you forever." She buried him in December. She was gone by April. The Metayer family has now lost 2 of their children in the span of 3 months.
I'm not going to stand here and wrap this story up in a bow, because it doesn't have one. There is no clean lesson that makes the weight of this lighter. But there are things I need to say. The first is this. 2 shiny cars in the driveway and a beautiful house in a nice neighborhood tell you absolutely nothing about what is happening inside that house. We have got to stop measuring the health of someone's life by the image they project on the outside. Behind the most polished facades are sometimes the most dangerous silences. The second thing, domestic violence does not have a look. It doesn't only happen to women who are struggling. It doesn't only happen in certain zip codes or certain cultures. It happened to a sitting vice mayor, a woman with a title, a career, a platform, a community that loved her. It happened to her. The third thing, and this one I want every parent, every sibling, every friend to hear. The Parkland school shooting did not end when the cameras left. For Donovan Metayer and the hundreds of other students who survived that day, February 14th, 2018 never really ended. The trauma lived in them. It changed them. It cost some of them everything. 17 people died that day on school grounds, but the body count, the true body count, is still rising years later in the form of young people who couldn't outrun what they witnessed. We have got to take mental health seriously in our communities, especially in Black and Caribbean families where the stigma runs deep, especially for young Black men who are navigating a health crisis that the world barely has resources to address. Donovan deserved more. He deserved a system that caught him before it was too late. He deserved a community that didn't make him feel like his diagnosis was a judgment on his character. And Nancy Metayer Bowen deserved to make that congressional announcement. She deserved to keep climbing. She deserved to come home. The city of Coral Springs held a candlelit vigil for Nancy on the evening of April 3, 2026 at City Hall. People were asked to bring white candles and wear something orange or green, her colors.
Condolences are pouring in for the trailblazer, from the Miami-Dade County mayor to a former Tamarack commissioner and even state representative, Dottie Joseph, who says that she always showed up for the Haitian community. Our coverage will continue. We have more reaction coming in from the community. We're also going to be following the very latest developments in this case, so stay with us right here on Local 10.
Her neighbors, her community came out to stand together in the dark and hold light for the woman who had been a light for all of them. Florida Democratic Party Chair Nikki Fried said she loved her community deeply and believed with every fiber of her being that a better and more equitable future was possible for all of us. Above all, Nancy was my friend, and a friend to everyone who has ever believed that democracy was worth fighting for. The world is less bright without her in it. State Commissioner Joshua Simmons said it was going to take a long time for those who knew her at City Hall to deal with this loss. Tamarack's Vice Mayor Marlon Bolton, a personal friend of Nancy's, said no one would ever be able to walk in her shoes. Stephen Bowen is sitting in Broward County Jail tonight, charged with premeditated first-degree murder and evidence tampering, held without bond. He told his uncle he couldn't take it anymore. Nancy Metayer Bowen was 38 years old. She had already made history. She was about to make more. She had just buried her baby brother and was still standing, still fighting, still showing up. She was the kind of woman who turned personal pain into public purpose, and she deserved to live. Rest in power, Nancy. Rest in peace, Donovan. And to the Metayer family, we see your pain. We see your loss. We are sorry the world failed both of them.